Amy, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With blossom rot and occasionally some powder mold or powder mildew. And when my squashies are all in a row, it doesn't actually rhyme, does it? That's okay. If Dr. Zeus can do it, I can too. Hi, I'm Amy, and today on Lolly Live, we're talking about blossom end rot. Maybe I should say that a little differently. Blossom end rot. You should say it that way because it's rotten. Yeah, I have it with squash, but you can have it with tomatoes, cucumbers, and peppers, and like, I don't know, lots of different things get blossom rot. This year, my garden, my squash would get like 3 inches long, and then like they would get this like blossom rot, and it would just start like creeping up the thing and like rotting out all of my vegetables. It's terrible. It's a sad, sad story. A few things about blossom rot. Number 1, you can still eat a fruit that has blossom rot. Like sometimes tomatoes are quite, you know, are nice sized tomatoes, and then they have like blossom rot around the bottom or something. You can cut off the blossom rot and still eat the tomato, and it's okay. Not so much with the squash, because the blossom rot usually happens before it's actually big enough to like pick and stuff, and so like it starts, like it never finishes growing. So another couple things about blossom rot. Once the fruit itself has blossom rot, there's nothing you can do about it. Like you have to just pick it off the vine and pitch it, and like that's just the end of that. There is no like fixing all of the little fruits on your vine that have blossom rot. Blossom rot is caused from a calcium deficiency. When you give the plant calcium, then it helps the next round of fruit that it produces not have blossom rot. That calcium deficiency can happen for a couple of different reasons. Your plant can have a calcium deficiency even if the soil that you've planted in is absolutely wonderful and has every nutrient that your plant could ever need, and you water it inconsistently, then the plant can't take the nutrients it needs out of the soil if the soil is too dry. And so you can get blossom end rot even with really wonderful soil because you didn't water consistently. You need to make sure that it has wet soil so it can actually absorb the nutrients out of the soil that it needs. That is one reason why you might have blossom end rot. Another reason is because the soil, well, isn't wonderful and doesn't have the nutrients that your plant needs. That actually is a pretty common reason. And there are lots of things that you can do to help treat blossom rot. You can get special fertilizers. They're like supposed to be like low in nitrogen, or like add lime or gypsum to the soil. Like you can do things for blossom rot. They also have like little sprays that you can buy, this calcium spray, and so you spray it on the plant and it like absorbs into the plant. There are other things that you can do for blossom rot that work quite well and don't require all the specialty or fancy knowledge that it would probably take to use gypsum and lime and sprays or whatever. I don't even know. So here it is. Calcium deficiency in a plant. You give it, well, calcium. Ta-da! And you can do that with milk. You can water it with milk. So powdered milk is a little less expensive than regular milk, and so that's what I tend to use. And besides that, it rotates our years, like we have like a food storage kind of thing, and so it helps rotate the powdered milk that we have in our food storage. You can just sprinkle the powdered milk dry on the ground and mix it in, and then, you know, water the ground, or you can mix up the actual powdered milk into like milk and water it from your watering can. I did some powdered milk with my blossom rot this year, and this is the first time that I've tried that. I didn't realize that that was like a thing. I gave it some powdered milk, some dry powdered milk, because I knew it was going to rain. So I decided that it was not worth the effort for me to like mix it up into the thing. I think that I would rather mix it up because it didn't dissolve into the soil quite as well, because the leaves kept the rain from getting into the soil as much. but it worked. And the blossom rot, like, I wouldn't say it was gone entirely, but it was gone like 90%. Whereas like every single one of my little squashies was like dying after it hit about 3 inches, sometimes a little less. Then I didn't have, like the next day when I went out, I actually didn't have any. Then I had 1 or 2 instead of like a dozen or more. So I watered it, you know, a second time with some powdered milk. And they're doing very well. The blossom rot is kind of just going away. Another thing that you can do to help with blossom rot is if you take your eggshells and you crunch them up and you put them in the ground when you're planting your seeds, that will put calcium in the soil, the eggshells, and that helps prevent blossom rot as well. Just some information about blossom rot. I hope that's really helpful. I know blossom rot is like something that I have struggled with it many times over the years, so I was super excited to find something super easy that worked. Hello, thank you very much, dried powdered milk. I'll see you next time on A Lolly Life without any blossom rot. I'm mixing up some powdered milk. Milky. Yeah, I'm mixing up some powdered milky. Won't my squashies be so proud of me? I'm mixing up some powdered milky.